Mm, mm. Okay, Miss Bain and Miss Thompson, are you all still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, look like it's just two of you today. So I will begin. And I guess the others, if they show up, they'll just join us whenever they arrive. Okay. As usual, I like to start by looking at the homework to see if there was any questions that pose a challenge to you. You weren't able to get the answer that was on the answer sheet, so we could look at it. Any of the questions pose a challenge, or you weren't able to get a chance to do the homework or look at the homework?
Honestly, I didn't get a chance to do it.
Okay, okay.
I did it, but I can't remember if I had a issue with any one of the questions.
Okay. Now, I think that was Miss Bain. You sent that to me? I can't remember if I.
Yes, I sent you it's in the email with all of the homeworks. Remember, I catch up on all of the homeworks.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's 1 to 4 that's in the email that I sent you.
Okay, so check something.
So, Mr. Allen, I could submit these still, even though.
Well, the homework, once you have it labeled properly, you can still submit it, because
This is
the purpose of the homework is for practice.
okay.
And that's why I really would like for you to try to do it, because even though you may understand while teaching, unless you practice it, you know, your skill at solving will not be improved. Okay,
Right.
so the practice really does help. And from what I see in past, usually the persons who do the practice will end up doing much better on the test, because when it comes time to that final exam, the more practice you have, the better off you are. So you can
Okay.
still do it and submit it. And because the answers are there, so you could always check to see if you can't get the answer, then you could always bring it up for discussion and we could look at it then.
Okay.
Okay. You could go ahead. All right. So in that case, then I guess we can go on to what is on the schedule for today. So we have 2 chapters that supposed to be covered. All of chapter 4 and then a portion of chapter 14, which so this first chapter deals with some basic banking concepts. And it starts on page 91 if you have the book. And 91 going to 92 with some basic terms involving banking. And so we have the checking account as the first point or concept. I think all of you should be relatively familiar with the checking account. Well, both of you, I should say. And so these days, of course, many businesses are not actually stopping use of the checking account or use of checks. Any ideas why that is so?
I guess because everybody's leaning towards online banking, you're able to transfer and
Paperless.
other people account.
Okay, all right. So the online banking, yeah, is more common these days, and I think I heard someone that said paperless, right?
Yes.
So we're trying to go green and actually probably save money with less printing. So the the use of checks. There are also some other issues with checks. Those checks, I think a number of businesses have suffered loss as a result of bad checks that were written by persons
Mm.
for fraudulent checks. And but in spite of that, it still turns out to be useful for businesses because of one main advantage. And what's that main advantage? For the checking
Uh,
account.
I guess not having so much cash, I guess, on site.
Okay, that's one thing, yeah. But for accounting purposes,
Um, okay.
it is a good means of especially with like government businesses of good paper trail. I mean, you can get your trail with the online banking as well, but well, here in the Bahamas, for example, many government corporations, government entities do not really allow online. They don't allow business, like, for example, schools, government schools, to have like a credit card or debit card. It's not encouraged. Let me put it like that. It can happen, but it's not encouraged because of, you know, issues with controlling who have access and the ease of
It's
access to.
appropriation.
Right. So that's one of the problems. But in other places, they have put systems in place to facilitate. In fact, some government offices are now kind of switching over because I noticed recently the road traffic, their office on by Fort Charlotte there, it's all cashless these days. I think the main road traffic also, you can use your card, but you could also use cash. But I think it's a slow process where eventually maybe more and more government entities will use it. But for the time being, many businesses continue to use checks because of it's easier for paper trail until they put systems in place to facilitate the online and ease of better control of who have access to some of those protocols to make purchases, okay, and prevent people from using those cards inappropriately. All right, so the checking account, of course, we use checks to pay. the checks have certain main features. So you see a sample of a check here, and it varies from bank to bank. And but the key thing is that we have the date, the name of the person who the check is paid out to, the amount, and usually with checks, the amount is stated in figures as well as in words, and then a signatory, or sometimes you have multiple signatories. And some banks will have a space for you to state what the check is for, but it's not necessarily there for all checks. And then of course you have some identifying features like the check number, your account number, and so on. Okay, so those are some of the basic features of all checks, but the format may differ depending on the bank. Okay, and some accessories to the checking account would be the stub. Some banks don't actually have a stub, they actually just have a duplicate of the check. So when you write a check, there's like a carbonated copy. So you only write once. When you have the stub, you have to write the check and then write the stub. And then if you have to make a deposit, then of course you use your deposit slip. There's a sample deposit slip there. Very simple deposit slip. What's missing from this deposit slip? What are some of the other things you would normally see on a deposit slip that's not shown here? You notice anything that's missing?
No, no, not at all.
No. Most deposit slips tend to have a little bit more space for your breakdown of cash.
Okay,
Yeah, they usually want you to state like how many $1 bills, how many $5 bills, how many,
okay.
and so on. And then they often want a separation between, say, US bills and
Yeah,
Bahamian, that sort of thing. But other than that, the information that you see in that sample is basically the same, just the spacing in terms of how you break down the deposit. Okay. All right. So we're going to just do a little exercise on the writing up of a check. So you will see the top one is done, where you indicate you're told that you have to complete the following check and check stub for a long company. You had a $9,500.60 balance brought forward on the check stub. So at the very top of the check stub right here, you'll see that they had, that's where they put that balance. So some persons who keep checking account like to keep a running balance of how much money they should have. And so if they make any deposits, they write a deposit right under that balance. So you'll see they have a deposit there of $690. So that deposit was made. And so they add those two together to get the total, which in this case is $10,191.20. And then the amount that was written for that check. So that check was written on June 5th for the amount of $83.76. And so you subtract that 83 from the 10,191.20. And so your balance, ending balance, in this case is $10,107.44. Okay. So it's a good way to keep track of how funds are being managed, how much money you're taking out, how much money you're putting in, so you could have a rough idea of what your overall balance should be. Okay. So of course, you put who the check is paid to, you write the amount in words, you write the amount in figures, you put the date, you sign, and you put an indication as to what the check is for. All right. So let's go to the next one. It says complete the following check and stub for Long Company. You had a $10,800.80 balance brought forward. You must make an $812.88 deposit on May 3rd. Sign the check. All right. So based on the information there, at the very top, right here, you're going to put in your deposit. And how much is your deposit? Sorry, not your deposit. How much is the check written for? In the second one?
$79.88.
$79.88. So that would go 79.88. See if I could make this bigger. Okay. And then after that, we are going to indicate the date, which in this case is July 8th, 2013. And we're making a check to.
Low Corp.
Okay, so it's going to be Low Corp, LOWCORP. And what is the check for?
It is for advertising.
Okay, so we write the what is for advertising. Okay, and then so we had a deposit at some point. How much was deposited?
$812.88.
81288. So your total, oops, sorry for that. Yeah, so your total then, after the deposit, how much money should be in the account?
$11,613.
68 cents.
68 cents.
8. And then we wrote a check for 79.88. So the balance at the end of this transaction should be
11,533 and 80 cents.
okay, and 80 cents. Okay. So I won't bother to write up the check because it's fairly straightforward. You'd write your Low Corp, you put your date, the amount in words and numbers, then you sign for R small, and you put advertising. Okay, I was just looking at the mathematical aspect of it, how you would keep your running totals there.
Are we going to see this on the exam?
It's likely you may see a question like that, yes. Very likely.
Have all questions like this.
Could you repeat that?
We could have all the questions like that.
Oh boy. No, it won't be all like that. You may have one.
I agree.
Okay. Okay, so now we in with the checks, we have this whole concept of endorsement of checks. So the book mentions 3 types: blank, full, and restrictive. So the restrictive is the most secure one, and with restrictive, the attempt is to get you to deposit the check rather than to cash it. Okay, so some persons, to force persons to deposit it, what they would do is they'd cross the check. And you have an idea what we mean when I say cross the check?
Deposit only.
Okay, you could state that somewhere, like they put a stamp on it, or they just put a,
2
I know
lines
they used
across
to
the front.
right, something like that, to indicate that it should be deposited only. All right. And then with the full endorsement, basically, it's just writing the name of the company. Whereas with the blank endorsement, it would be maybe just writing cash. Instead of putting the name of a company, you just write cash. That's not encouraged, but if you do that, basically whoever have that check can cash
Exactly.
it. Mhm.
I said exactly.
Yeah, so that's a form of endorsement, but it's the least secure. All right. So with your checking account, you definitely would have a bank account, and your bank would have, well, these days they don't really send statements. A lot of statements are now online, but in any event, it's a statement to show transactions that take place during, usually on a monthly basis. And even though you may keep a record of your transactions on your checkbook, oftentimes the bank statement will have some transactions that you would not have on record on your check register. And why is that so? What are some of those type of transactions that can appear on your check register?
Monthly service charges.
Okay, yeah, things like that, because you wouldn't necessarily know what those are.
Right.
That's one attempt. Of course, taxes would be, of course, with the VAT, service charge, and a few other things, but those just a couple of examples. Okay, the bank statement varies from bank to bank again. So in this particular bank statement, what they have done is they put all the deposits together. So right at this section here, they're just dealing with deposits for that month. This section here, they're dealing with just charges. And then this bottom section, they're dealing with checks. And then here, they just have like a running daily total. Okay. Many banks these days, they don't have it separated like that. They simply just have whatever transaction you do, they just have it in date order, starting from the first or whenever they begin, 5th of the month or whenever, straight to the end of that month. And so if you want to categorize it, then you would have to do so on your own. But some banks have it categorized by the nature of the transaction. Okay. So while we may have a check stub, which we would record individual transactions, we could also have a check register where you could easily see all the transactions that you would have done for a particular period. And again, it's usually on a monthly basis that we want to keep a record or register. So you'll see here as an example of a check register for a particular month. So this one starts on the 4th of the month all the way to the 31st. And you will see the far left column deals with, they have recorded the check numbers. So transactions that were done with checks, you will see check numbers. Then next is the date. Then next is the description of the transaction. And then after that, you will see one column for payments and another column for deposits. Okay, and then the last column, you actually do your calculations as to what your balances are. So when you make a deposit, you're actually increasing your balance. So you see on this one, they started off with an opening balance of $12,912.24. You made a deposit of $2,000. Now, because it's a deposit, would go on the right-hand side where you end up doing a credit, a plus, you're gonna add to the account. So that 2,000 is added to 12,000. And so you end up now with a total of 14,912. And the next, we have another deposit of 224. So again, that will go on the right-hand side. And that's a debt credited to your account. So you add that to the 14,912.24 to get now a total of $15,136.24. Now, when you write checks, which was check 633, 8 of the 3rd for 6,000, you are making a payment, so you're going to be deducting from the account. So you'll see here they have minus 6,000 from the 15,000. So your balance is now $9,136.24. And so you continue that whole process for the period under review, which in this case is usually on a monthly basis. And so at the end, you will have your ending balance. And then for the next month, this ending balance now becomes the beginning balance for the, the month subsequent to this one. Okay, so you will just continue the process until the month ends. So all deposits are added, all payments are subtracted. So you have a running total of how much your account should be at any point in time. Okay, so I want you, let's look at this one here. We're going to start off, they give you a opening balance of 4,500. So what's the first transaction on that?
A check was written.
Okay, so the check was written, and what's that check number?
482.
Okay, so you start off with a check for 482. Sorry, a check number is 482. So we write 482 is the check number. The date is the 7th. Well, I like to write my day first and then months, 7th to the 7th. And then you have, that's going to be a credit or a debit?
Debit.
Okay, oops. And in this case, you're writing the check to AOL. So it's going to be a payment debit. In this case, the check was in the amount of $143.50, $143.50. And so we're going to end up doing what?
Subtracting.
Subtracting. So you're going to put minus 143.50. And so you're going to end up with a new total of a new balance of
4,357.25.
and 25. Okay. And so you go back again to the next section. The next section that was check. That was another check. Check 483. And that was the 15th of the 7th. And that was written to Staples. Okay, so again, we're going to put that on the debit side because that's a payment, and that's payment is 66.10. So of course, we're going to end up subtracting again 66.10. So now your new balance would be
129. Sorry, $4,291.15.
and what, 15?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll let's look at one more and then move on. I think you should get the concept here. So now we have a deposit, so we wouldn't have anything to write here because there's no check. So we'll just put the date. The deposit was made on the 19th of the 7th. And we simply just put deposit. And the deposit now, because it's a deposit, it's going to go on the credit side. And the deposit is for how much?
$800.
800, okay. So we're going to add 800, 00. So now our baht total will be
$5,091.15.
15. Okay. And so we just continue that process until we get to the end of the month and we find the balance. And so when you start writing your check register for the next month, whatever is at the end here will become the opening balance for that next month. And we continue the process straight through. So as you scroll through your check register, each time you could see what each month was the starting amount, what was your ending amount, and so on. Okay. All right, so that's your check register. I think it's fairly straightforward. We're going to move on now to look at the whole process of trying to balance the check register with or your checkbook account with your bank statement. Okay, so this process, of course, is called the reconciliation. Okay, where you try to account for differences. Already you said that your checkbook wouldn't have certain charges because those would be charges that would be done at the bank. And so you wouldn't know what it is until you see your bank statement. And likewise, your bank statement may not have certain things that you have recorded for your checkbook. What are some of those things that your bank statement may not have? Or can you think of anything that your bank statement might not have, but you may have in your check register?
If you wrote a check today,
Mhm.
and let's say you just got your bank statement yesterday, well,
Right.
never mind. No, I don't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's
So
it?
yeah. So
Okay.
you have checks checks that haven't been cleared as yet.
Right.
Or you could even write the check within that period, but sometimes some people don't take the check to the bank right away. Sometimes they do batch processing, and so they'll wait until they get a certain amount. Okay, and so
So is it wise then that when you write it, let's say you posted it then, like to maybe 2 months from now?
you mean post date the check?
Yeah. So would you account for that today? You understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, if you post date the check, now that check cannot be cleared until the date that's on it.
Right.
So ordinarily you wouldn't, yeah, it would cause a problem. So you couldn't really account for it now because it is not is you can't it can't be cash now. It wouldn't be deposited. Okay, unless you
So
want to
go ahead.
simply record it, but then you'd have to continue looking out for it later on when it would be able to be cleared.
That's
So
what I'm gonna
you still have to record it in your check register as having written, but it wouldn't be cleared until whatever date you have
Okay.
on the check. Okay? So it would be something that would be appearing maybe in more than one statements as uncleared. But
Okay.
it's something we usually try to discourage
All right.
unless it's absolutely necessary, because sometimes persons may write a series of post-dated checks. Like I know sometimes you may just want to pay a particular bill If it's the same thing every month, you could just write a series of check for the year and leave it with a company. And they just, at the end of each month, they'll just take out the check for that month. So yeah, but it wouldn't appear on your bank statement because the banks wouldn't have the check until it is posted. So it would only appear on your check register, but it wouldn't appear on the bank's statement until the time that that check is due. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So the process we refer to as bank reconciliation, where we try to account for differences between the checkbook balance and the bank balance. And so you will see on page 97 of your text, they make mention of examples of some of the things that will appear on this side. These are things that your checkbook will not have. Your checkbook register or you will not have. So electronic transfers, interest, notes collected, direct deposits, ATM withdrawals, automatic withdrawals, charges that the bank would do for insufficient funds if you write a check that bounce, online fees, overdraft, service charge, stop payments, etc., and then bank errors. Okay, so you have a long list of things there that wouldn't appear on your check register until you see your bank statement. Whereas on this other side here with the bank balance, the only things that the bank would not have, somebody mentioned outstanding check. So if you write a check that has not been cleared as yet, then it wouldn't appear on your bank statement, but you still have to account for it because you expect that check to be cleared at some point. And then you may have a deposit. You might have made a deposit, but at the time of the statement, that deposit wasn't recorded. So that's referred to as deposits in transit. And so those are the two main things. You can have bank errors where you may have to add or subtract, but you will see next to each of those types of transactions, they indicate whether you add or whether you subtract. So a deposit in transit, you would add that to your checking account because, to your bank balance because you expect that to be, to reflect on your bank statement eventually. And if there's outstanding checks that haven't been cleared as yet, you expect that they will be eventually cleared. So you would make provisions by subtracting those from your bank balance. So you could have a sense of what your real balance should be. Okay. And on the other side, with the checkbook balance side, you see certain things cause the amount to go up, certain things cause it to go down, depending on the type of transaction. So you see a scale. Basically, the scale is an indication that you want the two sides to be in balance. Okay. So the process of bank reconciling is on page 96, 98, they give you a 5-step process. I think it's going to make a little more sense when we actually work through 1 or 2 examples. So instead of looking at the 5 steps, I just want to look at an example here. So we have a simple bank reconciliation here where it's divided into 2 sections, and we want to keep and we note that at the end, there's a balance. The 2 sides are equal. So what they have done, you have the checkbook, first you have the name of the company. The type of statement is a bank reconciliation. You have the date, the 31st of March 2013 in this case. Then at the top of each side, you have what the balance is. So in this case, the checkbook balance is $6,588.42. The bank balance is $11,863.02. So you see a big difference between the two. So the process of reconciling now is trying to find out why is there this difference. So on the checkbook balance side, we try to find all those items that we wouldn't ordinarily have in our check register because those are from your bank. You'd only find them in your bank statement. So you see, they put all the things that need to be added together. So you have this electronic funds transfer, $1,800. You have another electronic funds transfer. So they're leasing the bakery department. They have a lease in the meat department. So they're earning monies from that. So that's added. You have interest of $56. And then there was an error overstated, 720. So altogether, these items will total 6,812. And so that 6,812 is added to the opening balance. So your overall balance at this point is $13,400.50. Then you have all the deductions. So they have a service charge, they have a NF a check that was returned, they have a payment here for health insurance. So altogether, these three add up to $854.50. And because these are deductions, because they are charges, they're going to be taken away from the $13,400.50 to get this 12,546 that we have on the left-hand side. Now on the right-hand side, they had one deposit in transit, and that deposit in transit is $3,383.26. So if you have some money that's in transit, the bank is not at the bank yet, but that means that your bank balance when it gets there should be $15,246.28. Then you have several checks that were written, but they have not been deposited. So all these checks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and you have the check numbers and the amount for each. They all total $2,700.28. So those checks, because you expect that they're going to be deposited and cleared, you make provisions by subtracting them from the 15,000. And so the real amount that you should have here is $12,546. And so the two sides are in balance after those transactions were done. Okay. So let's look at a question. So we're just looking at the setup here, but let's look at how a question may be worded. So in this question, you are told that Rosa Garcia received her February 3rd bank statement showing a balance of $212.80. Rosa's checkbook has a balance of $929.15. So you see the balances at the top here. You see the name of the person, Rosa Garcia. You see the dates at the top. Then you see the division into two parts, one side for checkbook, one side for bank, and then you put the two balances there. Then it says, the bank statement showed that Rosa had an ATM fee of $12. Okay, so that's a fee, so that's going to be subtracted. That's right there. Then she deposited on a deposit check return fee of $20. So that's another charge again. So that goes in the section where you're going to do your deductions. Rosa earned interest of $1.05. Okay, so that's going to be added to the balance. So that's right there. She had 3 outstanding checks, and they have the numbers of the checks and the amount. So you put all of those deductions together. So you have 1, 2, 3, the 3 deductions. And a deposit of 810 was not on her bank statement. So that's what we have right here. So that's going to be deposited into the bank balance to find out what you should have there. So they ask you to prepare Rosa Garcia's bank reconciliation. So we have basically accounted for all of what was listed here. So we simply now make sure whatever is on the checkbook balance side that needs to be added, we put them together. So in this case, we just had one item, which is $1.05. You add that to the 929, you get 930.20. 2 items to be subtracted. Their total is $32. Subtract that from the 930.20, you get 898.20. And then on the other side, we only had one deposit in transit. So you add that to the 212.80, and you got that $1,022.92. Then the 3 checks altogether add up to $124.72. You add it to that $1,022.92, and you get $898.20. So the 2 sides are in balance. You have accounted for the differences between the 2 accounts. So in effect, when all these things would have been completed, your actual amount should be $898.20. Straightforward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So I have one here. I want you to look at it and see if you could put the different items where they belong. It's already laid out for you. And then we can look at it. Give you 2 minutes to do that. Okay, so let's look at that. So, Ms. Thompson, you're going to do the first half. I mean, what you have for your checkbook balance.
Okay, so we starting off with the names and all that, or are we moving forward to the balances?
The name at the top is,
Earl Miller,
okay, so we have Earl Miller. And
as
then
at
the
March
date.
March 8th, 2013.
Okay, and then your checkbook balance is,
The checkbook balance is $1,200.10.
mhm.
And the bank
then I think,
statement balance is
no, I just want you
300.
to do the,
Oh,
just
just
do
to one side.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so he had a $15 ATM debit fee.
15. Okay, $15. Mhm.
And he also had a return check fee of $30.
Okay. Mhm.
He also earned interest of $24.06.
24.06.
Yes.
Mhm.
He had 3 outstanding checks. Do you want me to
Okay.
continue?
No, just the left-hand side.
Okay.
So what your totals are now?
Okay, so the top check, the totals, the credits are 12/24/16.
Mhm. And
And you
then
get to complete the rest. Yeah.
your
Sorry.
deductions, what your deductions came up to in total?
45.
45, okay. So when you subtract that from the, let me just put it over here, 45.
1179.16.
16. Okay,
16 cents.
okay. All right, so Miss Bain, tell me what you did on the right-hand side now.
Okay, so the balance was $300.10.
$300.10 was the bank balance.
Yes.
Okay. Any deposit in transit?
The amount in transit was $1,200.50.
$400.50.
1,250.
Okay. $1,200.50. Okay.
Okay. The outstanding check. Let me give you the check number and the amount.
Right.
Okay, so the check number was check number 300.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for $22.88.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next number is 302. The check is
Mhm.
302.
Mm-hmm.
That is $15.90.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is check 303.
Mm-hmm.
And that balance is $282.66.
Okay. So what are your totals now when you
So when I added the 300 to the deposit in transit,
mm-hmm.
that gave me 1,560 cents.
$1,500.60, okay. And then your
Then,
standing checks,
so that was, that's $321 and
Mhm.
44 cents.
okay. And so now you're gonna
Subtract.
subtract, okay?
Mhm.
So that's 321.44 from the 1,560 gives you,
Right. $1,179.16.
okay. All right, very good. All right, so this one was laid out for you. So you just have to find what numbers to put where. So in this next one now, is not laid out. So I want you to do this one, set it up, and find what the final balance is. Now this one says the World Bank forecasts growth of world trade to be 4.7% in 2012, down from 12.4% in 2010. This change has caused Peru's apple blossom florist to analyze its current financial situation, beginning with reconciling its accounts. Apple Blossom received its bank statement showing a balance of $8,788. Its checkbook balance is $15,252. Deposits in transit are $3,450 and $6,521. There's a service charge of $45 and interest earned of $3. Notes collected total $1,575. Outstanding checks are number 1021 for $1,260, number 1022 for $714. All numbers are in US dollars. Help Apple Blossom Florist reconcile its balances. So you'll see that some of the information there is not really that critical to what you need to do. Tell me some of the information there that's not that critical.
So I guess the forecast growth of the 4.7%,
Right. That's not that critical. Nor is the
12.4%.
mhm. Okay. So they're just giving you some kind of background, but the real big
Feel
thing
like they're
start.
trying to trick me.
Okay. So the real point of this starts where it says the receiver's bank statement showing a balance of 8,000. That's the part that you need to focus on, and then you go from there. All right. I'll give you no more than 5 minutes to work on that. Okay, are we through?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Bain?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your reconcile um,
I have a question
balance?
though.
Mhm.
What do they mean by notes collected? What side would that go on?
Okay,
I wasn't sure.
so let's go back. You have the textbook,
Yes. Sorry.
I was sorry.
97, but you'll see where it says notes collected. Notes, um, it's almost like another way of saying monies.
Deposited?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think mine is wrong then,
Mhm.
possibly. Okay. I'll correct it as we go through it.
Okay, so um, what's the reconcile balance? Any of you got it to balance?
No.
No?
The balance I got, the first one I got was $13,635.
Okay,
I put the notes collected on.
okay.
I don't know.
Now, the thing with the if what that will help you when you're trying to do the reconciliation, at least at this level. Now, if you go in further up to do, more advanced accounts, it will be more involved. But as far as this course is concerned, it's two things you need to really worry about as far as the bank balance side: deposits in transit and outstanding checks. Basically, everything else is on the checkbook balance side. So those are the two main things with the bank balance that you have to look at. What amounts you deposited that's not in your bank statement, what checks you wrote, that's not in your bank statement. All other transactions would have to be reflected on the checkbook balance side.
Okay.
Right. So once you remember that, you should be in good position for completing your bank reconciliation. You just have to know, okay, whether this is an addition or subtraction to the balance. All right, so let's start with Miss Bain then. Let me hear. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna ignore the heading right now. I'll just go straight to the checkbook balance.
Okay, so the checkbook balance was $15,252.
15,252.
The interest was $3.
Okay, so you have interest of $3.
There was a charge for $45.
Okay, so I want to look at the things that you're gonna add first.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
All right, so that the $15,252 plus the $3 gave me
So
$15,250.
what you did with your notes collected.
Oh, see, that's where I became lost. Okay, so I would have added my notes to that part.
Right. So your
Okay.
notes collected would be on this side too.
Okay, so that would have been $1,575.
Okay, 1,575. So at
So
this point now you could add up all three to find out what your running total is.
so that would be $16,830.
Okay, and now you could look at your deductions.
I would be taking away $45.
Okay, that's the service charge. Set 45. So at this point, when you subtract, what you're gonna get?
I'm going to get $16,785.
Okay, so that's the overall balance on that side. Okay, so that was, who was that? Who I spoke with just now?
I was
Same.
paying.
I can't distinguish the two voices. That was Branique or Denise?
That was Bernice. Bain.
Branique, okay. All right, Branique Bain. So Miss Thompson then, Denise Thompson. Okay, tell me, okay, your bank balance then is,
So the balance is 8,788, and we had two deposits.
okay, so you have two
One,
deposits in transit, deposits in transit. And so what are they?
3,450 and 6,521.
So at this point, your running total would be
18,759.
18,579.
759.
Oh, 759. Okay. All right. And then
And they had checks outstanding.
how many checks?
Two.
Two. Okay. So outstanding checks. And they give you the check numbers.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Check number 1021,
How much is that one for?
1,260.
Mm-hmm.
And check number 1022,
Mm-hmm.
and that was for $714.
Okay. So altogether that the
Total
deposit.
debits was 1974.
Okay. So you're gonna subtract that from the
Get 16,785.
Okay, 1, 6, 7, 8, 5. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
now we're in balance. All right. So the basic principle is not that difficult. It's just to know what to add, what to subtract. And then sometimes the questions, that's why it's good when we get the homework to try and do it, because the questions could be worded in all kind of ways. Sometimes they put stuff in there that that are really distractors, not really that important to solving the question. So the more you read and try to interpret questions, the better you're able to solve these questions correctly. So, all right. So I have a few questions here for you to do for homework from this chapter. So we basically have finished with that chapter, chapter 4, the portion that we're going to be focusing on. So pages 111 to 113, questions 1 to 4. So those questions will have to do with writing up your check register, doing your bank reconciliation, that type of stuff. It's only 4 questions. Okay. And then you see test 2. Okay, we're supposed to be doing that, but I'll email that to you after class. So we're going to now move on to another sort of related chapter, chapter 14, which is on page 355, starts at 355 of your book. And so one of the things, of course, that people use banks for is to, aside from having things like checking accounts, deposit accounts, is for getting loans. Okay. Now, of course, you're all aware that, there are other institutions that give loans aside from banks, furniture stores, appliance stores. In fact, this morning when I was going to work, I thought I heard this, what's this, Auto H&L? I thought they just sold cars, but they were offering loans too. So you can, in a number of businesses, they have what is called a revolving charge account. And if you know what a line of credit is, I guess it's basically the same thing, where they allow you a certain amount of credit. And once you haven't spent up to that limit, you can make as many purchases as you want. Once you reach the limit, then you can't purchase anymore until you pay down on your balance. And it sort of works like a credit card, but it's just for that particular business. Okay. So the principle of making payments for that type of account, the revolving charge account, is what we're going to be looking at now. And some of it is similar to what we did when we were looking at simple interest. So in this section that's highlighted in pink, it says interest charges are based on interest rate times the previous month's balance. But one point that we looked at, this, which is called US rule, is that the payments that you make, the first thing that the company does is they take out their interest, and then whatever is left goes to your balance. And they refer to that as the US rule, but it's something that's practiced almost worldwide. Interest comes out first, and the balance goes to whatever your principal is. And so we have an example here where this person has their credit limit is $10,000. So she could spend as much as she wants until she reached that 10,000 limit. But the arrangement she have is that she has to pay $500 a month on her whatever she owes. Okay, so at this point that we're looking at, they bought some furniture for $8,000 on credit. So you'll see here we have months 1, 2, 3. So we're looking at the breakdown of how the charges are made each month for the first 3 months. So the first month, your outstanding balance is $8,000, but you make a payment of $500 each month. Each month is $500, but you notice here that if she made a payment of $500, the outstanding balance at the end of the month should have been $7,500 because she took out, she paid down $500. But why is it not $7,500?
The interest?
Because because of the interest. So the interest has to come out first, and then whatever is left is what is used to reduce your principal. So the question now, where do they? Okay, they mentioned that it charges 1.5% interest on the previous month's balance, and 1.5% comes up to how much per year? 1.5% per month. How much interest is that for the year?
Per year, 18%.
18%. Okay. That's kind of similar to what many credit cards, in fact, some of them might be more than that now, but it used to be around that, 18%. So what they do, whatever the interest rate is for the year, they divide it by 12 to work it out for the month. So in this case, it works out to 1.5. So what they do is, you see in the green right here, they find 1.5% of 8,000. So when you convert the 1.5% to a decimal, you get 0.015. So you multiply 0.015 times 8,000 and you get that $120. And then you subtract 120 from the 500, because that 120 belongs to the company for interest. And so you're going to be left with $380. And so that $380 is what's going to be used to reduce your principal. So the 8,000 minus the 380, that's what gives you that $7,620 you see on the far right. And so that now becomes your new principal for the next month. So month 2, you start off with 7,620, and you're going to continue the process, find 1.5% of that, which works out now to $114.30. You're going to take that $114.30 from the 500. You get $385.75. And then at $385.75, you're going to take it away from the 7,620. And so that's how you get this new balance now of $7,434.30. And so your end of month 2 balance now becomes the beginning balance for month 3. And the process continues. Find 1.5% of that, which gives you $108.51. Subtract that from the 500, you get $391.49. Subtract that from the opening balance, which was $7,234.30. And so now you end up with $6,842.41. And the process would continue until your balance is 0. Okay. So that's your payment schedule for revolving charge account type arrangements. All right, so I have a question here. I want you to follow that same process. You have, it says calculate the balance outstanding at the end of month 2, given you purchase a desk for 600, you pay back 40 a month, the charge is 2.5% on the unpaid balance. By the way, how much is 2.5% as a decimal?
2.5%, that would be
0.5.
0.025. 225.
0.025.
25, sorry.
Okay, 0.025. Okay. I want you to work out the first 2 months for that arrangement. Okay. Okay, Ms. Bain, you'll give me the first row, which you did.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. All right, so the outstanding balance is oh wow. I don't know why I thought it said 6,000. Okay, 600. I
Mhm,
calculated as 6,000. So 600, I'll do it as I go.
mhm,
So we converted 2.5% into a decimal, so that's 0.025 times 600.
mhm,
So that's $15.
mhm.
So of course the monthly payment is $40. So we're going to take $15 from $600. And that's gonna leave us with $585.
Mm,
No?
mm, okay. The first thing you have to, you made a payment of $40. So when you make your payments, you have to take the interest out of that payment.
Yeah, so isn't it 15? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So I would be taking 15 out of the $40.
Mhm.
Okay,
And how
okay.
much is left?
So if I take the 15 from the 40, it would be $25.
Mhm.
Okay. So that you don't take it from the outstanding balance.
No.
Okay.
And then when you take what you get, what's left after you take out the interest of the fifth, that's what you take from the outstanding balance.
Yeah, I follow now. Okay.
Mhm.
So
So at the end of that month, what would be your balance?
575.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that's the first month amount due
Okay.
at the end of the first month. That's what your principal is. Okay. So, okay, that was Miss Ben. So let me hear from Miss Thompson. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so since our balance is now 575, we're gonna calculate 2.5% of that,
Mm-hmm.
which is $14.38.
You said $14
And 38
and
cents.
38 cents. Okay.
So we're gonna take 14.38 away from the $40,
Mm-hmm.
and that's gonna leave us with $25.62 towards our principal. And our new principal is now going to be $5.49.38.
Okay. All right. So the key thing to remember is that once you calculate that interest, you take it away from the payment. And then what's left out of that payment, that's what you're going to reduce the principal by. Okay. So, and then you just continue that each month until you would have made all your payments. Okay. So if you have the book, you'll see these examples on page 356. So if you want extra practice, but you get a copy for homework as well. Okay, I had another question here, but I think I'll skip that because I think you should get the basic principle of it. So I'll just skip that and move on now to another type of calculation involving this time the process for credit card payment calculation. So we were looking at revolving charge, where you simply just have a charge account at a particular company and how they work out the payments if you pay on a regular basis, a fixed amount. Now with a credit card, we don't have a fixed amount that we have to pay back. We pay back anything above the minimum. So, and we could pay anytime. We don't have to wait for the end of the month. And we could use it anytime. So it's a little different from the revolving charge account. And so what they tend to do with the credit card is try to work out what they refer to as an average daily balance. And the average daily balance is what they're going to calculate your charge for the month on. So whatever that percentage is, if they say 2% is your interest per month, they'll find 2% of your average daily balance. So working out the average daily balance is what you have to do before you can work out the payment due ordered for the month, the interest due. So they have a 5-step process that is mentioned on page 357. But again, some of these you best understand when you actually work through a situation. So you have an example here where you are given a mini statement. This is a mini statement, a very small credit card statement. And it tells you that it's a 30-day billing cycle for this credit card statement. Most credit cards is like a monthly cycle. So they have a few transactions there. First, they said the billing date is the 20th of June, and the balance that came from the previous month was $450. So on the 27th, you made a payment of $50. On the 30th, you made a purchase from JCPenney for $200. On the 9th, you made another payment of $40. And on the 12th, you took out some cash, a cash advance of $60. So you just have about 4 transactions there. And so they use this simple thing just to show you the process. Usually a credit card bill would have many more transactions than this. But of course, with the computerized system now, we don't have to go through this tedious process. But for this course, you need to have some idea of how it's worked out. So that's why the numbers are round. I mean, because normally we don't just spend $200 at JCPenney to be with change and not rounded, but just to get the process, we're looking at how it's done. So the first thing I like to let you focus on is right here. Then we could deal with the days column after. So you start off with $450 and you made a payment. So if you owe the credit card company $450, you made a payment of $50. That means you now owe $400. Then you made a purchase of $200, so now you owe $600. So when you pay, it goes down. When you make a purchase, your balance goes up. You made another payment of $40, so your balance is going to go down to $560. And then you have a cash advance of $60. So that's you getting cash from the credit card. So it goes up by 60 from 560 to 620. So those are the different transactions you did for that month. Now on this section here, where you're looking at the days, what they try to do now is to work out how many days you are between each transaction. So you started off on the 20th with 450, and you didn't do anything until the 27th. So from the 20th to the 27th is 7 days. So that's how we got this 7 here. Then we go from the 27th to the 30th. So that's 3 days. Then from the 30th to the 9th, okay, there's the 30th of June, 30 days of September, April, June, and November. So 30 days in June. So you have 9 days from the 30th of June to the 9th of July. So that's 9 days. And then from the 9th of July to the 12th of July is 3 days. And then you see 8. How did they get that 8? Any suggestions of how they got the 8? Are y'all with me? Wait.
Oh, we are. I just don't know.
I'm trying to look, see right now.
Okay. What you see under the 8?
30.
Why? Why is 30 there?
It's 30-day cycle.
Okay, it's a 30-day cycle. So how you think they got the 8 then?
Maybe they divided the amount 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 transactions divided by the month. I don't know. 30 days, 30 divided by 4.
Boy, you're creative with that.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of days. How many days we look at? 7 and 3 and 9 and 3. What does that add up to?
20 something, eh? So plus 3 plus 9 plus 3. 22?
Mm-hmm. So the days add up to 22, but the cycle's supposed to be 28. Sorry, it's supposed to be 30.
Mm. So there's 30 minus 22 days.
Okay, very good, very good. All right. So once you reach to the last transaction, then you have to fill in for the rest of the month by subtracting the total of the days that were given from the amount for that billing cycle. Okay, so whatever the billing cycle is, you subtract from that to find out what the remaining, how many days the rest of that balance lasted for. So once you do that now, so you have your daily balances, you have the days that you had that day. So the first daily balance was $450, and that was that way for 7 days. So you say 7 times 450, and that's how you get that 3,150. Then you had $400 there for 3 days. So 3 times 400 is 1,200. You had $600 there for 9 days. 9 times 600 is 5,400. You had $560 for 3 days. So 3 times 560 gives you that 1680. And then the last amount, which was 620, you had that there for 8 days to the end of the billing cycle. So 8 times 620 gives you 4,960. And then you're going to add all of those extensions, the 3150, 1200, 5400, 1680, 4960. And that's what gives you your total of the extensions. And then to find your average daily balance, that's when you're going to do your dividing. Okay, so you're going to say 16,390 divide by 30 because we have 30 days in the billing cycle. And so your average daily balance for this particular set of transactions for this month was $546.33. Then, because the interest rate in this case was 1.5%, then you're going to find what is 1.5% of the $546.33. And that's what's going to tell you how much interest you owe for that month. So your interest for that month is $8.19. So of course, that $8.19 would add to your $546 so you could know what your total balance is. But right now we're just trying to find the interest. So we just stop right here and say the interest or the finance charge for that month is $8.19. You follow that?
Kind of.
Okay. Kind of. Okay. Well, we'll try and do one to see if it could make it a little bit more concretized for you. So let's look at this one here. Mhm.
This- Something like this work 20 points in. No,
Maybe-
seriously, it's 5 steps in this. It can't be worth 5 points.
Example, that's true because, for example, you see where it says current daily balance. Like if we're working this out, we have to actually put this part where that's 450, take away 50.
Well,
Like, we
that
have-
part you don't have to put that subtraction section in there. You just have to put the answer. We only
just have
put
to
that
work
there
it
to
out.
show you how you got. Yeah, that was just put there to show you how the 400 was arrived at, how the 600 was arrived at, and so on. But you don't have to actually put that section. So that whole section in the brackets there, you could just do that mentally on the calculator, but put the daily balance. But something like this would be maybe a little more than 5 points, yeah, because you have several things to do. Yeah. Okay.
Is this optional? Something like this to be optional?
Well, I don't really give optional questions, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so you be
Yeah.
having this on the exam?
Yeah, everything that we do, we're gonna be tested on, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah. So yeah.
You mean Saturday come in?
No. Saturday, no, I don't give you. No, you don't have a test on Saturday. You have a test today. So when I give you a test, it's going to be based on what was done before that class. So the next test you have after this test today will have this. We'll have this on it.
Okay.
So I make sure to give you a chance to do the homework and get some practice before I give you a test on the topic. So what I'm giving you the test on today is going to be the chapters we did before this. So that would be the algebra, and I think it was the percentages, and yeah. So that would be what we're looking at. Okay, so now let's look at this one. So in this question, you are told to calculate the average daily balance and finance charge from the information that follows. So this time you have what's your daily billing? What's your billing cycle for this one?
31 days.
31 days. So your opening balance is
210.
$210. So we're going to start with 210. And so you made a payment of $50. So what will be your balance after that transaction?
Payment of $50.
Mm-hmm. You owe 210 and you made a payment of 50 on that money that you owe. So how much are you going to owe now?
160.
Okay, so 160. All right. Then you made a purchase at Staples for $30. So what's your balance after that?
190.
130. What?
You need a purchase, sorry, 130.
130.
Your purchase is 30. So is that purchase going to cause your amount owed to go up or go down?
I'll pay.
Up. Yeah. you're
Okay, okay. So
increasing,
you
so
was
it's
right.
good.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's 190.
Yes.
Okay. And then now you made another payment of $10.
180.
Okay, so it's going to be 180. And then you did a cash advance for $60.
120.
120.
Yes.
Cash advance. Cash advance mean you borrowing money from them. You're getting cash from your credit card.
So your balance would go down, right?
That's almost like you making a purchase, but you're taking cash
Purchase, my
instead.
bad. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
240.
Okay, so that's 240 will be your balance. So it's usually good to start with that portion first, working out the different balances. Now we're going to go and see how many days we had those balances for. So we started off on the 20th to the 27th. So that would be how many days?
7.
7 days, okay. Then from the 27th to the 31st,
4.
4 days. And then from the 31st to the 5th,
6.
5.
35.
5.
5. Mhm. And then from the 5th to the 10th,
5.
and then from the 10th to the end of the cycle,
10.
okay. So we have 10 days here. So now the extension, now we're going to do our multiplications to find what these extensions are. So the first one, 7 times 210 gives us
1470.
1470. 4 times 160 is
640.
640. 5 times 190 is
950.
9 how much? 50?
Yes.
Okay. Then 5 times 180 is
900.
900. And then 10 times 240,
2400.
2400. Okay. And so now we're going to find out the total of the extensions.
$6,360.
6360. Okay. So how are you going to find the average daily balance?
Divided by 30.
31 in this case, because the billing cycle is for 31 days. So it'll be 6360 divided by 31. So our average daily balance is,
$205.16.
okay. So what that is telling us that on average, the balance is $205.16. That's their daily average balance for that month. So the interest rate now is 2% for this question. So to find out how much you have to pay for interest for that month, you would say now 0.02 times the 205.16. And what does that give you?
4.10.
$4.10. Okay. So, so it's a type of question. Once you do a few of them, you get the gist of it. You get your running balances first, then you calculate the days, then you do the extension, then you work out your average daily balance, and then you use that to find the interest for the month. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one where you're gonna do that on your own, and then I'll call you up. So give you about 5 minutes for that. And go from there. Okay, are we through?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the finance charge?
The finance charge,
Yeah, the final answer, yeah. What's the,
$5.05.
okay, we both agree?
I got something different.
What you got?
Oh,
$7.64.
Okay. Okay.
okay.
All right, so let's go through it then and see. So we're gonna start off with the 400, right? $400. And then a payment of 100. So what's gonna be the next
300.
balance? 300. Okay.
Okay,
Then,
so Denise may be right because I started with 300. I automatically started with 300.
oh, no, you start with the opening
Okay.
balance. Okay. And then after what's the next thing now? You have a charge of $60.
360.
So it's 360. Okay. Then a payment of 20.
340.
And then cash advance.
540.
540.
540. All right. So since you were asking about points, this portion here would be 2 points. So you're allowed to make 2 mistakes. If you get all right, you get 2 points. If you make 1 mistake, you get 1 point. If you make 2 mistakes, you get no point. 2 points just for this section. Then you're gonna start off with the days. So from the 21st to the 24th is, what's that, 3 days?
3
days,
days.
Okay, then the 24th to the 31st,
7.
7.
7 days, okay. Then from the 1st to the 31st to the 5th,
5.
5, okay. And then from the 5th to the 10th,
5.
5.
5 days, okay. And then how many days left after that?
11.
11, okay. Okay. So here again, you get 1 point for that 11, and then 2 points for the rest. So that'll give you 3 points in total. Then now with the extensions, you're gonna say, oops, 3 times 400 is 1200.
100.
7 times that is 21.
21.
5 times 360 is
1800. Sorry.
and then 5 times 340 is
1700.
and 11 times 540.
5040.
5040. You want to check that? You want to check that one?
540 times 11,
Mm-hmm.
5940. Bye-bye.
Okay. 5940. Okay. So when you add that up all together,
12,740.
12,740. So your average daily balance would be the 12,740 divided by 12 gives you
410.97 by 12.
what? Sorry.
And
What
you
should it
throw
be?
me off. It should be 31.
Yeah, 31. I must have fell asleep there just now. Okay, so what that should be then?
$8.22 actually.
Not yet. We're trying to find the average daily balance.
The average daily balance is 410.97.
Okay, $410.97. And then now we're going to find 2% of that, 0.02 times the 410.97, which you said gives you $8.22.
Both of us were
So,
wrong.
yeah, but you see where you went wrong. That's the main thing I
Yeah.
want you to see. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get another 2 points for this section right here.
And another 2 for the calculations at the bottom.
You get 1 point for this calculation here. And then, let me see, that's 2, 4, 6, and 1 point. So that's 8. Yeah, so that's an 8-point question.
Sure, you
Yep.
could make that 10 points.
Huh?
Are
Yeah,
you
you
sure you
never
could
know.
make that 10 points?
Okay. So now, I don't know if you saw me use the term FT on any of your papers so far, but we have what we call follow through. So sometimes why it's good to show you're working, because even though if you made a mistake right here where you had 5040, now you'd lose a point for that.
Mhm.
But if you added up the 5040 with the rest and your calculation that you did is correct based on that 5040,
Okay.
then you would get a follow through. So I wouldn't, so even though your final answer might not be the 822, but if you calculate correctly using that wrong answer, you'll still get the follow through. So you just lose the mark for making the error at this point.
Okay.
So that's one of the things we do basically we're looking to see that you follow the proper steps, even though you may make a mistake in a calculation. Okay.
Okay.
So you end up with 7 points instead of the 8 if you follow through correctly. All right, so I think that's that for that section of the chapter that we and so your homework questions would be page 366, 1415 to 1416, and 368, 4 and 5. So I'll send the PowerPoint to you right after this. I'll also send you test 2. Now with test 2, I need you to print, answer on the printed paper, and email back to me by tomorrow evening. Tomorrow is Friday, yeah, because I know some of you might have to print outside of home if you don't have a printer home. So try and get it printed and write on the printed copy, and then you could send, if you want to take a picture, if you want to scan it after you finish the test, then you send it to me by the end of day tomorrow. we meet on Saturday, God's willing, at 9 o'clock, and we will be moving on. We will not have a Wednesday, Thursday class next week. But I think the last Wednesday, Thursday will be week after next, which would be, let's see, is that now Wednesday, Thursday? That's the week, that's November 3rd and 4th, okay? Now, I sent you your grade sheets. You need to check on them regularly, make sure everything that you submit is recorded. And if you have any queries, you let me know. I also put your attendance on there too, if you're present or absent. So I'll record that tonight for the two of you who are here. And if you send the homework, you should see it recorded there. And try as much as you can to do the practice. I know it's a sacrifice, especially if you have other classes to do, but it does help. Okay.
Okay.
So until Saturday, I will see you all. Keep safe.
Mr. Allen, when is the midterms?
Right on your course outline, let me see, when is the first midterm? The first midterm is the 30th of October.
That's when our midterm is? Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have two midterms, one on the, but now, when is the 30th? That's next week. Okay, so with that, I guess it may end up being a sort of take-home-ish midterm because the situation is a little tricky with doing stuff on site. The final exam definitely really have to be at the BIFS office. But you see, because I am teaching that same day, so yeah, so it's going to be difficult to teach and also do that midterm. So it will be, but the thing is, even though you take it, you're doing it as a sort of home-based thing, if you don't know what you're doing and you get help or you cheat, it's not going to help you when it comes
Right,
to
in
the
the long
final.
run, because you're cheating
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. So I just go and based on the honor system right now and trust that, whatever you do, you're learning from it so that when it comes to the final exam, you are in a better position. The final exam is 60%, so it carries a lot of weight. So you have to make sure you understand. But basically, once you understand what we're doing in class now, then you shouldn't have a problem because the exam is basically based on what we covered. Okay, the
Okay.
questions are set up very similar. Okay.
All right.
All right then. I'll see
Okay,
you all.
one question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know I mentioned that I sent you all of my homework in one email. Do you see it? Did you get all four?
Now I
'Cause I know
want you to tell me, did you check your grade sheet?
I checked it before I submitted the homework. I didn't check
No.
it.
Yeah, I mean, since you submit the homework.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So you check it and let me see if you, that's why I give it to you and I keep it live. So I put stuff as soon as I mark, I try to place the grade in.
Okay.
So,
Can you also would you be able to send me the homework, please?
oh, you don't have the book?
No, sir.
How come? I thought they said they got books.
The last time I was there, I was at
Mhm.
they recommended me getting it off of Amazon, but
Oh, okay.
I
So,
haven't I don't have the book. They
oh
didn't
my
have it when I went for it.
Oh, that's Monique Bain.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So I'll see. Monique. This is homework for 4 and 14. Okay. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right then, no problem. Okay, see you all then.
Good
Okay.
night.
Okay, good night.